before we do that, we got a fun little top five.
Hmm.
So today we're talking top five desert set movies besides Mad Max Fury Road, which is a bit ridiculous, but if you know me, if you know this show, you know that I've had Mad Max Fury Road at the top of my top fives like at least five times.
Yeah, it's probably the
Uh,
most the most topped five movie by a while.
yeah. Um, but yeah, why don't you kick us off, Jared, with your number five?
I would love to. We're traveling back in our little time machine here, going back to 1997.
Ooh.
Ooh, or no, 1977. I'm an idiot. 1977. Ooh. Hills Have Eyes. It's great.
Oh, yeah.
I like it. It's a fun movie. It uses the desert as a real creepy setting that I think is executed very well in the film. And I liked it a lot, and so it's my number five. It was between this and Holes just for nostalgia, but I decided to cut Holes.
Sorry, holes.
Yeah,
Um, wait, so are you talking about the remake or are you talking about
the original
the original?
77 one. Yeah,
Yeah. So good. So
the
good.
remake. Yeah,
Eh.
yeah.
Um, more violent though, which I like.
That is true. Shout out for that.
But my number five, we never said we had to talk about deserts on Earth.
This is
Um,
true, and I think I
yeah.
know where you're going with this because I almost did it.
But yeah, this is probably my favorite Ridley Scott movie of the 21st century. Um,
Mhm.
I think I think it's got everything you love about him. His use of space is, or not outer space necessarily, although outer space is big in the movie. But his use of different spaces to help build the characters and help inform the story. It's got great characters that you can latch onto, not just the protagonist, but an also killer protagonist who's trying to survive in the Martian desert in the film
Mhm.
The Martian. Um, the
Yeah.
hilarious Golden Globe award winning comedy. Uh,
Still batshit crazy that that exists.
so stupid. But I still love the movie. It didn't that ridiculous little stunt didn't hurt anything. So
Yeah.
yeah, I think it's a great Matt Damon performance. It's a great uh, triumph of the human spirit type thing.
Mhm. Yeah. Which is a heavy theme in Dune too. I feel like all my picks are kind of loosely based around also themes of Dune for some reason. Um, but The Martian's a great pick. The
Yeah.
only in a rare twist that never happens for me as a fanboy, I think Donald Glover's part might be my least favorite part of that movie. The ex machina that he just provides.
Yeah. And even that is like it's literally just the plot of Apollo 13. Like
Yeah.
I'm gonna swing it around the moon or swing it around.
Slingshot.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a great movie though.
Yeah,
Good
for
pick.
sure.
For my number four, I tried to steer away from westerns because I'm just a glutton for punishment like that. Uh, but this one kind of fits in that category, so I still didn't stay true to it. But I saw a lot of connections to Dune with it too,
Hmm.
like capitalism taking over your land as a rightful resident, and so you got to turn to violence and crime to fight back. I'm talking Hell or High Water, the neo
Ooh,
western fucking classic. I love this
yeah.
movie a lot. Fantastic performances across the board, all the way down to the rattlesnake waitress. Everything about this movie is either funny, gripping, heart wrenching, or action packed. Not a wasted scene, and it's a damn good film.
It really is. It really is. Definitely like one of my top 20 like screenplays of the past
Yeah,
like 10 years. It's really well
absolutely.
written.
It does simple so well too. Like guy
Hmm.
has to rob banks because he's losing his house. Like that's such a simple, you'd think overdone concept, but it still feels fresh, original, and well executed.
Yep. Yep. Um, my number four is also a western, maybe a more not super traditional because it's a spaghetti western, but because that genre blew up so quickly and in such a widespread way, it's a little bit more traditional. Um, but I like movies where the desert's like a real threat, and uh, and it feels like a threat, and it feels like there are various threats and various ways that the desert is used against the characters in The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly by Leone.
Mm,
I really love this movie. There are like a lot of different types of desert landscapes that they use really well. The battle sequence is great, and then the last one in the graveyard is also amazing.
yep.
Um, it's just a really cool yeah, it's just got a for a very simple story. It's got a lot of variety in its
Mhm.
settings, and so
Yeah.
I really appreciate it for that.
Yeah, the desert is such a character in that movie that Leone actually almost called it the good, the bad, the ugly, and that. Ooh, that's hot. Yeah,
Mamma
his
mia,
producer
that's a
made him
hot.
change. That's a spicy meatball of Ooh, that's racist. Number three.
Okay.
Number three. This is probably my favorite movie on my list, despite it coming at number three, because I don't think it hits the desert as hard as it could have. But it does have a big theme of Dune as well. It takes place in the desert. This could straight up be like an adaptation of like a Dune prequel on Arrakis. And I'm talking There Will Be Blood. um,
Ooh,
yeah, great fucking movie. I
so
don't have
good.
much to say that hasn't already been said. I'm sure we'll do an episode on it. I'm sure we'll do an episode on Hell or High Water too. Um,
Yeah.
but it's a modern classic for a reason. One of the best movies of the 21st century, easily. Some of the best performances, and I'm not just talking Daniel Day Lewis. Paul Dano, I think outperforms him even. He
Ooh,
fucking destroys this role. That's a hot take. I know I'm
that's a
dropping
very
them
hot
early.
take.
Um, but he fucking kills it. I think it's incredible. And so it's my number three.
Hell yeah, hell yeah. And the way they use the desert in the beginning too to like get you on Plainview's
Hmm.
side because he literally crawls through the desert on his elbows
Yeah.
just to make a few bucks.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's a great movie. Um, one of my top 10 of the 2000s for sure.
Yeah.
Um, my number three is a film that we also talked about on the podcast. It's Paris, Texas. Um,
Mm.
I love the way that the desert is used as a kind of purgatory for the protagonist. It's it you know only about maybe 40% of the movie is in the desert, but it still feels palpable. It feels real. Every dust cloud, every gust of wind feels like it's touching your face. I don't know how they did it. It just looks amazing and it looks really cool. Um, they do a great job of like handling the setting in Texas, like and making it kind of them. But yeah,
Yeah, just listen to the episode. It's a great one.
hmm
Honestly, probably one of our best. Um,
indeed.
my number two is kind of an obligatory film dude pick. If there was a the desert movie, it's probably this one. I'm talking the epic historical drama of Lawrence of Arabia,
Ooh.
the way too long desert movie. Yeah, it's fucking beautiful. If you're looking for beautiful desert cinematography, look no further than here. This is it. I think
Yeah.
it's awesome. It's a great movie. Not one that I go back to a lot, but I think it's obviously going to be worthy of a pick here.
Yeah, I saw it in eighth grade and I haven't seen it again since, but I definitely owe it a rewatch because I remember loving the first half before
Hmm.
the intermission and then not loving the second half.
Because you're like, oh,
Um,
this is over 3 hours long, and there's not much going down.
yeah, and it's just not as it's not as fun as the first half. I don't know.
Yeah.
Um, Fun fact: it was the first film to be shot in Wadi Rum, which is
Ooh.
where they shot much of Dune 2021.
Huh.
Yeah, and also
Nice.
Frank Herbert was inspired by the journals of T.E. Lawrence. So there's this weird kind of relationship that Dune has with Lawrence of
Yeah.
Arabia.
See, the one non-intentional pick is fucking all tied up.
Yeah, and you got through one of my bullet points for.
Hey, look
Hey,
at us. That's just efficiency right there. You
it
won't
really
find that
is.
anywhere else.
It really is. My number two is also a classic, equal to Lawrence of Arabia. Of course, I'm talking about Tremors. Uh, talk about similarities to
Obviously.
Dune. Talk about similarities to Dune. The movie follows a group of people trying to survive as giant worms hidden in the sand try to eat them.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, very, very similar.
Yep.
But that's kind of where the similarities end. The movie um, is basically like if Jaws had the tone of Spy Kids. Like that's
Yeah.
kind of that, that's kind of Tremors right there. And I recently rewatched this movie. I think Fred Ward is beautiful in it. I think Kevin Bacon is beautiful in it.
Mhm.
Um, it's Reba McEntire plays an apocalypse survivalist, like with a basement full of guns. Yeah, she's
What's not
great.
to love?
Yeah, it's a true classic in its own right. Tremors.
Hmm. Yep. I almost put it on, but I was like, Jared's gonna put Tremors on his list. I could I could feel it.
Yeah.
My number one is one that we talked about on the podcast.
Yeah.
It's like if you took the themes of Dune and the pacing of Lawrence of Arabia, and then tossed all that out the window because it's the mummy.
Wow.
It's the mummy. It's a
Yeah.
fun fucking movie, and so I like it a lot. Listen to our episode.
I agree. I agree. What a great pick.
Yeah, thank you.
My number one has not been featured on the podcast yet. I've been looking for an opportunity to bring it on, but
Mm,
it's kind of hard to find. It's one of my favorite Coen Brothers films. Um,
mm,
Maybe my favorite Coen Brothers film. I'd have to double check. No, second favorite. Um, but I'm not crazy for making this number one because it's in Edgar Wright's top 10 of all time. The pick, of course, is Raising Arizona. I I adore this movie. It's so
mm,
like it's like talk about a movie that's perfectly edited. It's really really amazing and really stunning, and the way they use the desert in the car chases, the way they use it in their like kind of trailer park home. It's just absolutely beautiful and really
mhm.
charming. Looking into desert life and into just Arizona life in general. Um,
Yeah,
yeah, I really really love this movie.
yeah. When you were teeing it up, I wasn't sure if you were going Raising Arizona or No Country for Old Men because that kind of
Yeah,
counts as a desert movie too.
it
Raising
does.
Arizona is fantastic, though. I wrote an essay on it in my screwball comedy class.
Nice, nice. That's a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say for Cohen Brothers, it goes Fargo, Raising Arizona, and then No Country though.
Yeah.
For me.
Um, for me, it's probably Fargo and Big Lebowski are probably tied, and
Oh
then No
shit,
Country.
I forgot about Lebowski. We'll
Yeah.
figure it out later.
Yeah. We'll make it a top five sometime.
Yeah, yeah.
But we're not here for Coen Brothers.